Okay, the Metta Sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be happy. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
Thank you, Venerable. Over to you.
Okay. So it's been a while since I've taught Armadale. I think it was before the Rains Retreat. We were talking about how happiness makes the mind still very quickly. So the positive mind states in daily life supports our meditation. So it's not only when we're sitting down meditating, but our whole life, how we conduct our life in, our daily life, having morality, ethics, and kindness in our life, and how we treat others, that is how we treat ourselves. So all those things come together in meditation. So meditation isn't just about, it's not just an isolated thing. It encompasses the whole of our life. So in the Buddhist tradition, we have the Noble Eightfold Path, and in brief, we practice sila, samadhi, panya. So sila is the morality aspect of it, and to keep it, to simply put it, we're not harming anybody, and we're not harming ourselves. So we're not doing anything that would harm us or anyone else. So that's morality in brief, in its simplest form, that's easiest to understand. So if you're doing something and you're not sure if it's the right thing to do, or you're questioning, oh, is this good or bad, or does it lead to wholesome states? You go, is it harming myself or is it harming anybody else? So you ask yourself that and kind of investigate that and reflect on it. And if you keep your morality quite pure, you will see an increase in your samadhi, your stillness. So it's like conditionality, it's like dependent origination. One thing leads to another, it's a formula. So if you keep morality, naturally your meditation will take off very quickly, easily. So it's that wisdom aspect of understanding how the process works. Instead of trying to force it, you understand the skillful means how to get there. So samadhi is a stillness, and then when you're still, your wisdom will arise. Because through stillness, meaning the pool or the water is still, so you can see at the bottom of the pool or the water of the lake. So you see clearly what's going on here. Then the wisdom, that's when the wisdom arises. Oh, this is how things are. So when the wisdom arises, it supports the morality, it supports the meditation, and also increases the wisdom. So all those three factors help one another, support one another to develop and mature. So So I think there was a story of something like 3 boys. They were walking through maybe a park or a garden, and they saw some fruits, maybe some apples on top, and they wanted to get the apple, but it was too high up. They were too short to get it, So, these boys were clever, they were smart, so they figure if they help each other, they can get to the apple on top because it was too high. So what happens was the 2 boys on the bottom, they would kneel down on all fours. So then the 3rd boy could climb up on both of their backs, stand up so they can reach the apple, so they can pick the apple. So which means the 2 boys at the bottom is morality and stillness, sila and samadhi. So the morality and the meditation supports the wisdom. So the 3rd boy is able to climb up on the other 2 boy and able to get to the fruit, to the apples. So that's just a simile of how the path works, how the path of meditation works. So if you really want to develop your meditation, practice the Noble Eightfold Path, understanding how sila works. And once you understand sila, you keep some sila, you try it out. You don't have to be perfect at it. And once you see that the sila helps the samadhi, and then the wisdom comes up, then you're like, oh yeah, this is working. So then it also makes you want to keep more precepts, starting with 5 and then taking more. So that's in brief how the Noble Eightfold Path works, and how meditation is part of that, and how wisdom and morality is part of that. And it's in brief. I think that would be helpful for all of you to, have some kind of understanding how the Noble Eightfold Path works. So, so any questions on that, or should we get to the meditation?
It's a nice chance to ask questions. If anyone would like to ask a question, please unmute.
Can I ask about the 5 and the 8 precepts? Because sometimes I read another book by a monk called Ajahn Lee. the other time.
Okay.
And then I saw that he really emphasized on the benefit of keeping 8 precepts. But I'm not sure about that, because he really emphasized a lot, like if you keep 5 precepts, your sila is on, like your sila is like this, and then you keep the 8 precepts, your sila will be like on. I don't think he tried to make a comparison, but from what I read is that he seems to place a lot of importance in keeping the 8 precepts. And I want to ask how important is that in a lay life, because sometimes I think it's really difficult to keep 8 precepts in lay life practically.
Yeah. Okay, so the question is how we can use the 8 precepts in the lay life and how important it is. It depends on the person, each individual. Yeah, I mean, I think for most people, or for all, I mean, you can always try it out, like first you try out the 5. If you can keep the 5 really well already, I wouldn't say jump to 8 right away. So, you can keep your 5 precepts. That's really, really good already. I mean, it's very, very difficult because most of us are working and have busy lives, and we're not professional meditators, We just do it part-time. But once you are able to keep the 5 precepts and meditate regularly and see that there's an increase in your, in meditation, there's a big happiness that you can see a big growth in it, then you could try out the 8 precepts. So because of eating in the afternoon is a very difficult precept for most people, because our schedule is not designed for that kind of, society is not designed for the 8 precepts, as in eating in the afternoon mainly. So that's a difficult one. But if you go on those retreats, 9-day retreats or long retreats, how I started it was I took a lot of retreats during the year, and that conditioned my stomach to not eat in the afternoon. So the more retreats you have, that conditioning of not eating in the afternoon on retreats, then suddenly your stomach starts to change and not want to eat as much in the evening. And then it's slowly over the years you can build that up, and then even eat to the minimal and not just having, sugar and stuff at nighttime. But I wouldn't say it's that important. It's just, I think, something you should try out for yourself. Definitely something to give a try. But like anything, gradually do it. Don't force it. Because the first time when I did it, I was really, really in pain. I was really hungry. It was really, really bad. I had to go to sleep early because, it was so hungry that you just go to bed. Basically, that's what happened. But once you overcome that, then you're okay. But it's quite difficult when you first try it. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right. So we normally sit for what? About 30 minutes, is it?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so we have probably time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions, maybe.
Martha's got her hand up, Venerable.
Okay,
Martha.
Just wondering, can you remind us what all 8 of the precepts are slowly, so I can write them down? I learned this way. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see if I can remember them. Okay. So the first one is refraining from killing. Yeah, refraining from killing. Second one is refraining from stealing. Okay. And the third one is refraining from sexual misconduct. Basically adultery. And killing, stealing, second one. The fourth one is lying, refraining from lying. The fifth one is refraining from alcohol, taking alcohol or non-medicinal drugs. Yeah, alcohol or non-medicinal drugs. Okay, and then the third, the last three is refraining from eating in the afternoon. That means it's not like, you can eat little stuff like, like sugar and candy and stuff like that, chocolate and stuff. But you just can't eat like a big meal, like, like having like a full meal. Just stuff to keep you going, like sugar and honey and more stuff like that. And then what is it? The next one is refraining from entertainment, meaning like, like dancing, singing, watching movies and stuff. Anything that would disturb the mind from meditation. So it's getting more refined now, yeah? It's to calm down the mind and not stirring it up. Okay, and then I think that's it. I mean, there's one more. Is it entertainment? Anyone know the last one? There's like there's eating afternoon, singing, dancing, and entertainment.
No jewelry.
Luxurious bedding or no?
No.
Yeah.
High beds.
High beds, luxurious.
Luxurious beds.
Yeah, refraining from having luxurious furnishing. Like over the top. You don't want to go too far. Adornments. Oh, using perfumes and stuff like that. Yeah, is it? Jewelry, perfumes, adornments. Exactly, making yourself makeup and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's a good one. So that's the eighth one. So keeping things simple. Yeah, and not stirring up the mind. So the 3 extra precepts is basically allowing the mind to settle down more and not stirring it up. So that way the meditation can take off more easily. So, yeah?
Gita, you have your hand up. Would you like to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
A comment from following on from Gloria's question. In the time of the Buddha also, and of course now, we have days we set aside called the Bodhisattva days, where people, like, especially for lay people, once a month on full moon day, we observe the 8 precepts. So it's one way of doing it without it interfering with your regular employment and routine. So it's set aside as the Bodhisattva day, and it goes back to the time of the Buddha. So just for the day, for that 24 hours, you observe the 8 precepts. We do that at the Buddhist Society. We have once a month a day of silence where people come and just do that.
Okay, yeah, that's we actually do that, yeah. We do have that here at the BSWA. So that's another, yeah. So that's a way to also be, train yourself every full moon or every moon day. So, all right. So that's thank you, Gita, for that. It's nice to see you.
You have your hand up. Would you like to unmute?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, when you're thinking about, like, taking actions that don't harm yourself or others, how do you handle it when you feel like you're faced with a choice where whatever you choose, you're either going to harm yourself or harm someone else? Just wondering.
What do you mean? Do you have an example? Like?
Yeah, I mean, not big harming, but, like, say at work, like, we have a certain amount of work that needs to be done, and I get to a point where I feel like my body can't handle it anymore. It's more work than we have people. So what do I do when I feel like I can't handle it anymore, but if I don't do what I'm, like, this work, then it's going to fall onto someone else, and just, yeah, you know what I mean?
Right. Right. Okay. That's a tricky one. Yeah. Those kind of situations usually, I usually meditate, get my mind really still, and then suddenly an answer will come up for those. Yeah. But really, I think you would know more than I would, because the situation is very different. Yeah. There's no real standard answer to that, but because you're in that situation, and when you meditate, your mind becomes still and clear, and then so you're able to answer that question yourself. Yeah? Okay. All right. So I think it's probably that time for us to begin the meditation.
That would be wonderful, Venerable.
Okay. So get yourself into a nice, comfortable position. Whether it's sitting in a chair, on a couch, on a cushion, or any way you like that's comfortable. And let me see if I can turn off the lights here, so then it'll be more meditative. Okay. So, first thing we do is always giving our body some attention, yeah? Seeing how your body is. By closing your eyes first, so that helps you kind of be more aware of your inner world, and also your sensation in your body. That makes it more easy. So close your eyes gently. And just adjust the body. I'm adjusting my belt here, making sure it's not too tight. And it's important for your belly to be quite comfortable, where it's not constricted, so that you can breathe more easily. And so, when you close your eyes, and what do you notice? What part of the body do you notice? Kind of feel your body. How does it feel? And ask your body, how do you want to sit? What position would you like? How do you want to be? Just take a moment to listen to your body and see what it needs. For me, my body says, adjust your legs. So I'm going to do that. Usually it takes a couple minutes for you to feel the more subtle things that your body needs. When you first come in, it's a bit too coarse. So give it some time. Adjusting, relaxing any parts of your body that is tense. Put it in the best position that it can be in. So for me, I'm adjusting my neck and head, relaxing it, making sure my head is centered, balanced, comfortable. That my shoulders are relaxed, down to my arms, asking your arms and hands, see how they are, placing them in a way that is comfortable. And now, checking your back, your lower back, upper back, middle back, making sure all of your back is quite centered and straight, but relaxed. Now moving down to your stomach. Checking that, see how that your stomach is. Giving it some kindness. Moving down to your legs, your thighs, making sure your thighs are put in a very comfortable position. Is happy. Moving down to your calves. Then your ankle. Then your feet. Making sure it's placed in a good way. And then your toes, making sure that your toes are quite stretched and happy. And one last check over of the whole body to make sure anything that's left over, that's you left out. So feel your body as a whole. Feeling the whole body as one piece. And relaxing the whole body in one go. Putting it down and letting it be. And leaving it alone, not worrying about it at all. Now is the time to leave the body alone after caring for it the best that you can. I would sit for a while with the body part. Just give it some time to kind of settle down. And just feeling how it feels. Now you can feel you're in the world. How does it feel? So we're putting down the body, putting down our feelings, letting it be, putting it down, and coming into the present moment. Feeling this present moment. How does this present moment feel? Whatever you're feeling, you can always make peace with it. You can always be kind. You can always be gentle with whatever you're experiencing. Having an attitude of acceptance and kindness to whatever's in front of you. Having an attitude of disengagement, not engaging in whatever you're experiencing, but just kind of be in the background, not judging, not getting involved in whatever you're experiencing. Standing back, having some distance. A passive observer, a passenger, not a driver. Letting the process unfold by itself. So we're coming close to the end of the meditation. Now is the time to look back and assess, see how your mind and body has changed. See what's different. Compare to when you first started. You do notice more calm, more still body and mind. More clarity. And awake. More expansive. Having a more wider view. Seeing more clearly in the sense of an overall bird-eye view of things. Not so narrow. And of course, the energy is there. More energy in the mind. More rested in the body. The calming of your breathing. You can feel the well-being in yourself. You can feel the well-being. A wholesomeness. Something very wholesome. And you know that you're on the right path. Something tells you, this is the way. It's not through thinking, but more feeling, intuition, that this is the way to happiness. And now I will ring the gong 3 times. Please listen to all the ringing, and by the 3rd time, please come out of your meditation slowly. Okay. Whew. Okay, how was that? Another.
It was wonderful, Venerable. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Sorry?
It is beautiful, Venerable. Most beautiful. Would you like to continue with your talk or
Yeah.
take more questions?
Sure, yeah. So, every time you come back to meditation, have some time out and give it the priority in life, you always feel that life is meaningful. This is the meaning in our life. And that's how I feel. Whenever I meditate and get into a nice, peaceful state, it gives you a meaning in life that you can't describe in thinking, in words. It's a more kind of feely kind of way. It's a way of. It's a very difficult thing to describe. Yeah, we could call it inspiration, as Ajahn Brahm might call it, but it's showing us that we're going in the right direction. There's something attractive about it. It's pulling you towards something that's very wholesome, that you intuitively know that this is what you're looking for. Yeah? And it's not too much of like, in the books or reading about stuff or, debating or intellectualizing or philosophizing or, it doesn't need, meditation doesn't need you to convince, it doesn't need to convince you that it's right. It's a truth. You can experience it for yourself. And there's no need to say anything really. It speaks for itself, basically. So, it's a gradual path, and it leads to more and more happiness. If you keep up at it, give it a priority in your life, and treasure it like a treasure, like a gem, and it grows if you look after it. It grows and grows and grows, bigger and bigger, like a snowball. And once the momentum goes over the hill, it just takes off by itself. The mind leaps onto the meditation. You don't need to tell yourself, "Oh, I have to meditate today." Actually, you want to meditate. You can't help it, but to schedule a time, and you leave everything else behind and go, this is the more important thing. Number one, this is the first thing I need to do in my life before anything else. So you put that at the top as a priority, and not, other stuff, money, financial, other stuff that the world might say, oh, that's important, but this thing called meditation, the stillness, takes over your life, and you become an addict. You become addicted to meditation, and it's great because it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You need a lot of time. That's it. You just need the time for it. It's free. It's always there for you. You don't need anyone else to give it to you. It's a refuge, basically. Somewhere where you can find safety and happiness. Wherever you're in the world, no matter what happens to you in life, or you're homeless, you're poor, you go to jail, everyone in the world left you behind, you're all alone. This is the refuge that you can always turn to. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. So that's a true refuge in your own heart and mind. And what a great blessing that is for us to have, a place where we can go to for refuge, for support. Because in the world, we have families, relatives, friends, but over time, when we're young, for a brief period of time, we might have relationships, and the people around us may support us for a long time, may be with us for a long time. But even that doesn't last. It doesn't last. They will have to separate. They would have to pass away eventually. They would have to go. The relationships do end. People do die. Friendships do break up. The Buddha teaches anicca. Things change. They will let you down. That's the truth, one of the truth of the teachings. And if you recognize the nature of impermanence, then you want to seek out a solution to it. Somewhere where you're no longer disappointed in life. You don't blame anybody anymore. You have a true refuge within your own heart. And that's where you go. So, yeah. So it's great. Okay. Any questions?
Anyone like to unmute and ask a question or put a question in the chat?
I'll unmute, but I just don't. I don't want to take up everybody's time, but it's a technique thing. First of all, that was a great meditation. As far as thank you for the depth question about being the passenger versus the driver, and thinking not being the way. I understand. So, question. Until we just got into the silence a little further, I'm always being the driver by reminding myself of what it is that I'm to be doing right now. And it often is in the form of some sort of a mantra, which are very helpful for me, even in just off the cushion to remind myself, here now, here now. I was just wondering if you use any sort of an anchor, like the breath here or the breath at the abdomen or any sort of mantra or anything like that. And I know that's still thinking, and I know that the happiness is not there, but I'm just interested in what your experience is. And thank you.
Yeah, there's techniques like, the breath, the abdomen, and various places on the body you can anchor yourself, I guess, if you feel like your mind is going astray. But I don't know, I guess because of my teacher and my training, we don't really use that too much. We use the attitude to what we're experiencing. So that's what my teacher teaches. So you're not trying to control the object of what you're experiencing, what you're thinking about, or how you feel. But it's your attitude towards that object. That's where we have the control. We can have some kind of, So we're making peace with whatever we're experiencing. That means we're not agitating whatever's going on. We're not making more waves on the lake or the pond. So the pond is already have ripples, right? And if you stick your hand in there and try to pat down the ripples, it's going to make more waves. That's why we think we can go on the breath or the abdomen. We try to pat down the waves. So we're sticking our hand in there again, and then it's going to cause more waves in the end. So the skillful means, by making peace, being kind, being gentle, in the way I understand it, is the skillful means to let go, stand back, and stop sticking your hand in the lake. Is to kind of be a passive observer, to stand back and not get involved in what's going on. So by not getting involved in what's going on, the waves get lesser and lesser by themselves. You don't need to pat down the waves to make it still. The waves will eventually, become still once the wind stops. Once you stop sticking your hand in there. It's the nature of the water to become still. So by sticking your hand in there, you're just making it worse. Does that make sense?
How about this?
Yeah.
I'll get real specific. Okay, so sound, and it also comes to the jail and prison thing.
Yeah.
I could hear you breathe. And I liked it.
Okay.
In fact, all my energy, and I was sitting like right here, and I liked it. I felt like being in an actual retreat. I never get to meditate with people, and when I'm on retreat, oftentimes it is great work for me because I'm always obsessing about irritating people. But in this case, it was liking it. So a pleasant sound has made contact with the ear, versus when I'm in jail, a very unpleasant sound has made contact with the ear. Is it bad to have that liking? Meditation did help, but it's hard to do all by yourself in the midst of absolute just noise, just 24/7. The television's on, blaring. And so at any rate, I'm going to be here now. But this was a liking. Was that a bad thing? I could feel my energy from my brain to you. And so I, as the driver, just stood back and did liking. Is that wrong to do? And then eventually I centered because it was more silent and I was able to experience the stillness. But I feel like the stillness is always there and should be the driver. What are your thoughts about that? Thank you. Sorry to usurp all the time.
So, I mean, if you're listening to the breath or you're having some kind of sensation that's helping you to get more peaceful, I know in the Zen tradition, we used to light incense to sit with the group, and that aroma of the incense helps center your breathing, yeah? And that helps you to let go. It kind of gives you an object to kind of give your attention to. And I guess that's okay. I mean, if you're not, interfering with the process of sticking your hand in there, and you're just listening to the sound, whatever's going on, or the smell, but you're not interfering with it. You're just kind of like observing it, yeah? Feeling it.
I see.
Yeah. So
it's not bad to like it.
Well, yeah, it's okay if it's helping you.
It's not grabbing for more.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for giving me permission to like something. Thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Martha, and thank you, Venerable.
Sure.
Venerable, do you have time to squeeze one more question?
Yeah, sure. One more. One more question.
Okay. Venerable, this is a question that's in the chat, so I'll read it to you. There's a tendency when meditating, I feel like I have to kind of finish some work, etc., so I can be peaceful, or past memories appear. How can I train to break this habitual pattern?
Can you read that again?
Yes, certainly. There is a tendency when meditating, I feel like I have feelings that I have to kind of finish my work, or I have things of... and this interferes with me being peaceful. So how can all past memories appear? And how can I train myself to break this habitual pattern is the question.
Okay. Yeah. So, the past usually comes up often in meditation. That's very common. And the momentum of our day also often, goes into our meditation. If you've been working, obviously that's going to come up. So you're not trying to get rid of that thought or that memory. You're just making peace with it and being kind to it and being gentle to it. Meaning you're not adding more to what's already there or following it. So it's an attitude, what you have to what you're experiencing. It might be uncomfortable, that feeling of wanting to do something. It's not pleasant, but it's there. Yeah, it's there. It's there in the body, or also in the emotions. But you don't feed it. You make peace with it. You be kind to it, and also you stand back. You don't get entangled into what's happening. You stand back. Like watching a movie, you don't want to sit in the front row, you sit in the back row, all the way in the back, so you have some perspective, there's distance between you and what you're watching. And when you take away that, that attitude, and so you have that distance. Once you have that distance, you can just be at peace and watch. But if you're too close, then you might get involved in it, yeah? You get entangled in it. You start thinking more about it. You get yourself into more tangle by thinking how to get rid of it. Oh, I shouldn't be thinking. Oh, this is bad. What's going on? I just might as well go and finish my work so then I can, meditate. So you can get very entangled very quickly if you don't catch yourself early in the beginning. So catch yourself early. Know what's going on. The wisdom faculty. And catch it early by standing back and making peace with it instead of trying to change it. Is that okay?
I think so, Venerable. I think it's very okay.
Okay.
Venerable,
Yeah.
would you like to leave us with a blessing this evening?
Sure. All right, so just to let everyone know, I'll be going down south to Albany for a while. I won't be back until maybe the rains retreat. So, I wish everyone well and give you a blessing before I go, which is tomorrow.
Well, have a wonderful trip and enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sabba rogo vinimutto, sabba santa pavajito, sabba veramati yando, nibbutto chatuvam bhava, sabbitio vivajantu, sabba rogo vinyasatu mate, Bhavan Twan Tarayo Sukhi Dika Yugo Bhava Abhivadana Silisani Chang Vada Pachayino Chataro Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvano Sukhang Balang.